Hello, traders. It's 8:04 a.m. Chicago time. One of these days, I will start on time, although it takes about a minute for the stream to start. You would think I'd be able to plan it and start at 7:59 Central. Anyway, here we are. A lot to do. I'm at my desk at 6:30 and just an hour and a half of speed clicking to get us here. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. The overall market stance this morning is really mixed. The sentiment's mixed. Crude oil's popping higher again. A lot going on with crude in terms of the OPEC meeting news and so on. Yesterday, we gapped up in crude as well. You know, the blockage that is the China-U.S. tariff war was partially dislodged, although Chinese official came out yesterday afternoon and said they're thinking of removing tariffs on cars, although the president's tweet had indicated that it's agreed upon and it's a done deal. So we'll see how that plays. That may come back to push the market down at some point. I'm not sure. And so overall, the DAX is down. It's the laggard today, down 0.63%. The U.S. indices are all below yesterday's close. And then the Japanese yen bonds, gold, and all of the other safety assets are higher. So risk is slightly off today. We got into the gap mid, yesterday's gap zone mid in the overnight session in the ES, and what's ahead is nothing. Nothing's ahead. We have Fed's Williams speaking at 10 Eastern, and a BOE banker, Ville, something like that. I'm sorry I butchered his name or her name. Not sure how that's said. But the calendar's clear. The other thing we have to remember is that tomorrow, the U.S. equity and interest rate markets are closed. This is a holiday. That is in memory of George Bush Sr.'s passing. And it was announced on Sunday night. He passed away, I believe, on Saturday night. So tomorrow's actually off for the U.S. markets. We are closed. So make sure you're planning for that. Make sure you have a plan for today. A day off of the markets is actually a blessing because it allows us to quietly take the time to do some deep work and focus on catching up on our research, maybe starting on our taxes, doing our mark-to-market before the end of the year, whatever, and it's not time off for the rest of the family, so take advantage of it. Anyway, so that's that. Looking at yesterday in our review segment, yesterday the primary scenario is that we are likely to just slide down, become responsive into the gap. I expected the gap zone to remain open, which it did. I expected us to slide down, which we did. I expected us to push higher and hold sideways in the 2800 zone, which it did. No magic there. I'm not always right, but this yesterday, what? No sound? What? How's there? I have every indication that there's sound going across. Yeah. All right. So yesterday it basically traded just the way the primary scenario expected. The secondary scenario was a pullback and an initiative, meaning moving away from the prior range. And so here's the responsive part, pop, 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 and it got down into the 2774 area. 73 half is the low. And then it started to move back up towards 2800. 2800's up here. Note we did not spend much time above the 2800. Okay, and so we opened and we tested. We opened at 2801 and a quarter. We tested 2802.50. That was the opening swing high. The opening swing low is 2796.75, and then from there we just could not hold on to the 2800. So it was really just sell, sell, sell. Was favoring the sell side all morning until the higher low reversal. Anyway, I narrated that in Convergence chat room and the audio updates in there. But it was an interesting. It was somewhat readable, or I should say legible. And so you look at how this is trading, right? So you read the story. This is the goal. The goal is to narrate the story to yourself. If you like to hear things, if that's the modality that works for you as opposed to seeing things, it's good to speak the market out. I know it sounds like you're a crazy person sitting at your desk talking, but if you've never tried it, get a screen recorder and just talk for a day. You'll be shocked at your thinking and how you're seeing things once the day is over. So I've had prop traders do that who've run into trouble, and it shocks them after the market when their mindset's completely different to look back at what they were thinking in the trade, and just being able to recognize that this is happening really creates a very strong impression and a very strong revelation in the way they see things. So here we are. We put in a higher low by a tick. We push all the way back to the opening swing low, and then boom, we extend the range down. So we have range extension down. We never tackled that OS high, and so still looking to the short side. Retest of the IB right here. Retest of the IB low, and so we're looking for a continuation now. And so we finally get down to 73.50, and we have this this retest of the mid. Look at that retest of the new mid. Every time we make a lower low, we make a new mid. Retest of the mid for a 7-point rotation, and then we have a higher low again, and then we start to squeeze higher. So here, caution shorts as it starts to balance, and then it's just balance. You know, I talked about this being a setup right here. It pushed into this stock zone area, VWAP mid, and VPOC all in the same area there. That was a pretty decent setup, and it ended up rotating about 15 points, coming back up, and we end up closing right in balance. So yesterday, you look at yesterday's profile, and what you have is, yes, it's kind of chopped up. It's a little toothless, a little tooth decay in that profile. But really what we have is a market that has gapped up, left the gap zone open, and then closed. Look at where it closed. It closed just within earshot of the VPOC, right next to mid, right next to VWAP, inside of the IB. This is a market that has gapped and balanced. So what's happening? What happened here is it looks like what the narrative is saying here is, all right, well, we took this news on, but you know what? We didn't have fuel to push further. Even though we tried, we could not get above 2,800. We could not get any interest to continue pushing higher. And then we ended up closing in balance. So the market has basically resigned itself to having priced in everything it could price in and it closed in the middle with a very clean, clear acceptance area. And then in the overnight session, we could not push that, push out of this balance area before we moved lower in the overnight session. And so what we have here is a market that's saying, we're out of fuel. So you can see the overnight low is 27.67 and a quarter, and this looks heavy to me. This looks like it is likely to want to test down before it starts to move back up. So here's the overnight session. Here's the overnight session. So we close at 27.91 and we reopen right on top of it, same price. And then from there, it's just a trip down into the gap zone. The gap zone's still open, right? We still have this 27.64.75 as the gap zone close. Tested the mid, pulled back higher low, pushed through, and the overnight session is also balanced with, again, the VPOC, the current price action, mid VWAP in the same area, balancing down. So tiptoeing down. This looks like it's not able to continue to find buyers to throttle it up and push into that 2,800. Now, remember, we've come a long way over the last week, and 2,800 has put a lid on it. And also, the 2,800 has 27.99 as a key MCLVN, a rejection area, and it's holding us down. So it's operating just as we would expect. The first test of the 2,800 is seeing some rejection, and the market is just shifting value lower in the all sessions. So today, the expectation, let's move into today. Here's your little stinger. Moving into today, I'm looking for failure upwards today. I'm looking for an opportunity to où est le couleur préféré? Today, I'm looking for an open auction. We're opening inside of yesterday's value. We are balanced. We're opening inside of value, inside of range, obviously, and value. Expecting chop. I'm looking for responsive buying back into the yesterday's close. And then I'm looking for 27.94.75. This is a really important stock zone, as I mentioned yesterday. A lot going on with this stock zone. You can see we tested it and fell off of it yesterday after breaking through. This is an area where I'll be selling. I'm looking for that to close the door on the buyers and impulse down, and I'm looking for this gap to continue to fill. So there's a chance that we'd take out the overnight high as well as the overnight low today. I believe the good news is baked in. And I'm looking for this gap zone to close at 27.64.75 for us to start moving back and reclaiming the SOC pre-China, pre-G20 for a selling day. I expect volume to push higher. I expect the volume to increase. I expect the VIX to turn up a little bit today. That's the primary scenario. I believe the primary scenario has a really decent chance today of playing out. So I'm going to be looking for on the order flow, and I'll show you what that looks like in a little bit. I'm going to be looking on the order flow for areas of absorption on the way up. I'm looking for buyers to be making a strong effort, only not to get anywhere, right? So you make a strong effort and you're just being absorbed and absorbed and absorbed by sellers. As buyers come in and buy and buy and buy, sellers are still hitting the bid, or refilling the offer until buyers are done and it starts to rotate. That's when I hit the bid, and I'm looking for a quick ride down to cover risk and then to hold steady for my plan to close this gap zone down here. Okay. Secondary scenario is an open that just sloshes around the range. Okay. Tests lower. Makes a lower low at 73.50. Unable. Finds an impulse higher and then starts to test. Gets back into the 94.75 and holds steady into the upper end of the range. Into the upper end of the range as we get done to the downside. So if we see if the market, what this means is if the market dips below the prior day's range into the gap zone and comes back into the range, then I'm looking for a market that's more stable and looking for multiple days of balance here. I'm looking for another day of balance, the market coiling before the next move occurs. Now remember, again, Wednesday, tomorrow, the markets are closed. We are closed all day. No equities, no interest rate trading tomorrow. So as we approach the close of today, it might act like a Friday. We're rebalancing risk a little bit. But overall, I am expecting to sell into strength today as the primary scenario. I hope that makes sense to you. Good luck today, and I'll catch you mañana. Actually, I won't catch you mañana because there will not be a trader bite. I'll be here, though. I'll catch you on Thursday morning. Take care.